Morning, YouTubers. This is my first YouTube. Now I have this bike since July. I received this bike from Juice Bikes, and I received it in a damaged condition. The fork, I had a bent fork, so it took about 5 weeks before I received this fork. I waited patiently, and because I know it's a new bike on the market, so I waited patiently, and they sent me a fork. So the fork is working good. The shocks, everything is working good. Then about 3 weeks ago, I was riding to the park, and my bike just stopped. I hit a bump, and I noticed that on my trotter, the trotter screw fell off, and the bike stopped working. I didn't have no power or anything like that. Uh, Man, this bike is very heavy. I couldn't even pedal this bike home. I had to send for help so they could come with a truck so I could get this bike back home. Anyhow, the controller on this bike is not working. So Juice Bike sent me a controller, which they took about 3 weeks before I get this controller. Now I install this controller, and man, they sent me a refurbished controller. This controller is not working. Um, I can put on the bike now. Here I'm going to put the bike on. Oh, sorry. The bike is on. This is on. And yes, as you can see, right, before I wasn't getting no battery level or anything like that. Now I could assuming the bike was working. When I saw that, I was feeling good. But when I went to test ride it, I noticed that I have no lights behind. If you watch behind here, no lights is coming on. I check all my wires below, in front, everything. Double check all my wires, nothing is working. My blinkers here also. Put my hand here to show you the blinkers. You see that? Nothing is working. Nothing is working here behind here. This wire here is, I check all this wire here going back there. I just disconnect this controller here. I'm disconnecting back everything. I have to send this back out to Juice. They send me a refurbished controller because watch out the amount of mileage already on this controller here. And for some reason, man, this controller coming with a blue strap underneath. It's not right. So they sent me an email, I think yesterday. They tell me to send back the controller, put it back in the original box, and all that bullshit, you know. I'm getting tired of Juice Bike, man. At first, I really did love this bike of Tora Harris going through, you know, all that coronavirus to get this bike market. The bike is it's a beautiful bike, but it's too much problem. Also, I sent them about 4 email, tell them to send me a different bike, and they are not responding to that email for some reason. But I have another bike here, and this bike is called a Vigo. I have this bike for the past 3 years. I never had no problem with this bike. This bike go off-road, trail. Man, this bike is very dependable. It's like the, what do you say, a Toyota. I call it the Toyota of e-bikes. Because this thing could jam, man. And 3 years now, when I first got this bike, I was getting almost close to 28 miles an hour. Now I'm only getting, 25. That's because, you know, the battery, I believe I need to send this battery out and let her upstage and let her fix this battery. But otherwise than that, this Vigo bike, I don't hear people talk much about this bike, but This bike is a very dependable bike. I have a new one come out with the saying is going above 28. When I first get this was going 28. But now they have a bigger battery, and the bigger battery cannot fit on this bike, they say. Will not work. I had to get a bigger battery, you had to get a new controller and everything like that. But if you're looking for a dependable bike, it's not fast as the Hyper Scorpion, because the Hyper Scorpion go up to 32. But this bike, the most you'll get about 28, but it's dependable. You don't have to worry about anything, but this is a good bike. 3 years now, no complaint. Back to the Hyper Scorpion. Another thing, when I test ride this bike, I only get in 27 to 28 miles an hour. It cannot go above 28. It cannot reach 30, it cannot reach 32. So I know there's something is wrong with that controller. Every time I look at that controller, I know, man, something is wrong with this controller. I still went ahead and I put it in. I wanted to leave everything in there so you all can see that everything is on. I am not getting no lights behind. I checked my thing behind here, nothing. So I'll be sending back this controller back to Juice. Also, man, I cannot get on when I call in. I cannot get on to Juice bike. So that's my take. Take care, man.